Welcome to Vivid Talk Live. I'm your host, Gwen Witherspoon. I am the principal and chief visionary officer of Adam Red, an Atlanta branding agency. I'm a brand strategist and a Better Life Coach. Vivid Talk Live is all about your personal and professional development. I am here to help you learn a fresh way of thinking and doing for all you were designed to build. I'm streaming live to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. You can watch the stream from those channels and on my website at gwenwitherspoon.com. Replays are available there as well as on IGTV and Twitter. Make sure you follow your favorite channels so you will receive notifications when I go live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As a builder, you are destined to bring a change to the culture around you. In this episode, I want to talk about the most effective way to do that by developing your gift and investing the influence that it brings. Please introduce yourself in the comments. Your questions are welcome. Katrina and Ron are my faithful helpers monitoring the chat. Thank you so much for joining. Please share the link, invite your friends, tell them about the replays. We'll get right into it after this. After this right here. I want to make sure you follow at Gwen Fuchsias on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and on at Gwen Witherspoon Coach on YouTube. So excited to have you guys here tonight. Listen, I want to make sure, just as always, that you know where to get all the information about me and the replays. So we're going to go to gwenwitherspoon.com. We made a couple of changes. We're starting to clean it up a little bit. But we've got 20 videos in, so I've moved the replays from the homepage over to another page all by itself. So if you want to see more replays for Vivid Talk Live, just click on the Watch More Replays button. And as always, you can shop the store for resources and tools that I have available. You can now you can see all of my brands and projects, and you can also contact me on my website and find all the social accounts. So there we go. That's all the housekeeping. Woo! So tonight, this is quite the topic. So last week, and if you know me well, hello, Katrina and Ron can both attest to the fact that I've got a new obsession, and his name is Toby Wigway. And so I was introduced to Toby last week just by accident. Somehow I went on a tangent and just started watching everything that I possibly could watch. And so this episode is not about him, but it's about really what he's inspired in me and what we're going to talk about tonight. So the title for tonight is Your Gift is Necessary. Your gift is necessary. And I really want, by the end of this, I want to really encourage you, inspire you to invest your gift and your influence, more than anything. And I was playing with this whole concept around culture, and that we are supposed to be, we're not supposed to be subject to the culture. We're not supposed to be influenced or just even overtaken by our culture. Oftentimes we just kind of, we go along. If we don't do something on purpose, hey, Renee, if we don't do it on purpose, sometimes we can be shaped by our culture as opposed to us being the ones to change and influence the culture, right? And so we're really supposed to define it. And I want to help you. I want to just talk about how important it is for you to really discover, cultivate, increase, improve, all of those things to your gift. And I purposely said gift, singular, one gift. And that doesn't mean that you don't have just really unlimited capacity and capability and potential. What it means is there is one core foundational motivational part of your soul, right? That causes you to move, and that really you build everything else on. And so about Toby. So he is a rapper, a hip hop artist, and I I was blown away ultimately by the art, the art that he creates. I'm a poet myself, so words move me like nothing else. But his he says that his focus is on making purpose popular, and making purpose popular. Like he did it right, and he made me really examine myself and check my own commitment to my own purpose. And he kind of issued in his own way a challenge to me to just invest more of myself in it, to go harder after it, to not settle for whatever it is I feel like I may not have, or to force myself to commit myself to developing fully in my craft and in my ability and just in everything that I am, not just so that I can, stick my chest out and be proud and get accolades. But what I saw was how his gift has the potential to change the culture, to influence, and the people that when you step out in excellence in everything that you do, and you are uniquely yourself. You're not copying anyone else. You are just developing your own brand. When you do that, it brings about change. It moves people. It helps them overcome the issues that they're facing. It helps them see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that there is hope, that there is a possibility for something better for them. It ignites vision in other people. So tonight, so I don't know what this is. Tonight, I just really want to encourage you. I want you to leave just lit up, ready to go, and ready to invest who you are in a just going harder than you've ever gone before. And I really thought about, I kind of was thinking about all these like basic personalities. I love personality assessments, and I've been really toying with this whole day, playing with this whole idea of the different types of people that there are in the earth, and what kind of builder are you, and all of that. And it's so easy for us to look at people in social media, especially on Instagram, where all the pictures are and everything is so beautiful, for us to look at other people and compare ourselves to them. And so as I'm doing this show, I'm looking at more YouTube influencers and watching videos on live stream production, and I'm seeing other people doing their live streaming shows, and inevitably you can't help but compare yourself or say, oh, you know what, they're really good at that and I'm not, but what I'm finding is you have to, it's good to have examples. It's good to have people that can kind of help give you ideas, right? But the danger is that oftentimes we're not comparing apples to apples. And sometimes we think we're comparing apples to apples, but then we're really not, because we're not at the same stage of development they are at. We don't have the same personality that they have. We don't have the same experiences that they have. So they're coming from their experience, and we're coming from, and you're coming from yours, right? So if you try to compare those two things, oftentimes there's going to be a clash, because you just can't. They are them and you are you, right? So I was looking at these different, and I kind of just pulled these out of the air. They've just been, just coming to me. So I want to go through. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I'm going to call talents tonight. We're going to talk about 5 talents. And oftentimes we hear, especially in social media, we hear about influencers, social media influencers. And, I'm pushing 60. I'm pushing 60. My friends are that age. They're somewhere in there, or older, Ron. But it's easy to look at millennials, and influencers and compare yourself to them and say, "Ooh, these young folks, looking at what they're doing and thinking that we're different, right?" But then there are older people who are killing the game in the influencer space. And so it's easy to say, I'm not an influencer. I'm not this, I'm not that. So, and to feel like you don't have a voice. And what I want to just kind of highlight to you in these 5 talents is I want you to I want to help you locate yourself. Okay. So the first one is a thought leader. And, we've heard the phrase thought leader for a very long time. And probably been around since at least the term knowledge worker was released probably in the 50s and 60s. I can't remember the gentleman's name that really started bringing that to the forefront. But thought leadership is one you might think that if you're leaning toward, you're hearing more about being an influencer, it may feel like, oh, well, the thought leadership term is probably gone. But right, Ron, we are all, thank you. We are all influencers, and there's somebody watching you. And that's why I want you to really think about the fact that you have to invest your gift in the culture, because there is somebody that's watching you. And whoever is watching you, they need the brand of leadership, the talent that you bring. They need that. They don't need what everybody else has, because if everybody steps up and does everything exactly the same way, pretty soon you could get anybody. Like, it wouldn't matter if it was you doing it or someone else. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how many people is doing what it is that you're doing. You are necessary, because no one is going to bring to it what you're going to bring. And then especially if you take the time and the energy just to invest yourself and really expand your own limitations, like expand beyond the comfort zone. We've talked about that before as well, about the comfort that you've created for yourself. And that's what Toby has reminded me of, helped me to remember, you know what? You need to push your craft. You need to push what you're doing even further. You can't get stuck in the system that you think is acceptable and that's right. You have to push some boundaries, and you're going to make mistakes, and and it may not work out exactly the way you want to. You might need to delete some videos after the fact. You need to do some edits, but the bottom line is push yourself, do more, go farther, go harder, push beyond, what it is you see everybody else doing, and allow yourself to dream and to create and to literally sow seeds, sow your gift, your ability, your talent, your ideas, your thoughts, sow those into the culture, because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's listening. You don't know who needs that. And you don't know what doing that is going to do to you. And you don't understand fully what you're going to become as a result of it. So thought leadership is about really expanding your cerebral capacity, expanding on the thoughts and the ideas, the things that you care about. I was sharing with my team this week. I love what I consider to be all, like, the things that I really care about are primarily dying art forms: poetry, crochet, dollhouse miniatures. I mean, all 3 of those, and billiards, right? I love to play pool. It's so much fun. I have a stick in the trunk of my car. I gotta go play. But I love those things so much. And it's just really, I can't even explain why I'm so attracted to that. But those things make my heart sing. They make my soul sing. And I've always been trying to figure out ways to incorporate that into my daily life, my business, everything, how to teach kids using all those tools. Like, I'm always coming up with those ideas. But over the years, I realized I haven't invested a lot of time in that, because I wanted to be responsible and adult, and so, and Toby is not doing any of those things except, writing poetry and rap are kinfolk, but it was his investment in his craft and the things that were important to him, his culture, his Nigerian culture, spiritual wisdom and insight, and all those things. These things that he said were important in his music. I've been studying, I've been studying through the weekend because it just inspired me so much. But what I realized was that triggered me. And I can't even tell you the last time I wrote a poem. May have been, what's this? This is 2020. Probably 3 years ago when my 95-year-old grandmother died, I wrote a poem about her. And I haven't written a poem since then. Haven't even attempted one. And just that activity, watching him, listening to music, learning about his family, seeing the videos, all those things, charged me up and got me just inspired. It got those creative juices really running. And I think I know it has impacted how I function. Since during that encounter, it's totally changed. I think it's reignited me and helped me to just really dig in and focus on how do I cultivate and develop my ideas, and how do I include everything that I care about. And I've had so many times where, years ago when I was really trying to build my dollhouse miniature empire, which is hilarious. Every time I say it, it just makes me giggle. But I was working really hard to build it because I really believed that it needed. I had a segment called Minis in the Mainstream, so I was always looking for miniature sightings. And who is it? There's an actress that's said on what was it? It was on Stephen Colbert. She said that she was a Miniac, and I just lost Olivia Wilde. I went wild. I was like, yes, yeah, somebody else that understands. But the thing about it is, I could become the mini lady, known for miniatures, or whatever. But I could use miniatures to change the culture. I could use miniatures to tell stories. I could use miniatures to inspire creativity. I could use miniatures to teach children, to help kids learn how to dream, to empower senior citizens. There's so many things, as I think about it, that I could do, and it could be fun and special and unique. And you've got stuff like that too. Even just if you just lean in and just become the best at what it is you do. There's a young boy, I think he might be 10 or 11 or 12, something like that, who crochets. Cute little boy, but he has become famous, gone viral for crocheting, right? And anyway, the idea, what I want you to think about is the first talent. Are you a thought leader? Do you have unique ideas? Do you have unique perspectives? Do you have and do you have the ability to communicate, those ideas effectively? And you may feel like you're not really that good at it now, but I would bet that if you look back and check, just kind of, you'd see a thread running through all your activities and your jobs and the feedback you've gotten. You may need to, get better at communicating, but I bet you people look to you to share your ideas. I bet you. And so if you are a thought leader, and then of course the second talent is influencer. And really, when I think of an influencer in the modern day definition of the word, or the modern representation of the word, I really think of somebody that just has personality and style and flair and flavor in a way that people are drawn to them, right? Now, we are all influencers. Ron said that earlier. We really are. We are all influencers. We all have ideas to share, but some of us are just kind of naturally there. They have the ability. I think there's a strong visual component to an influencer when I think about it as a talent, in this example, right? And so if you are an influencer, the whole idea of the word is that people naturally follow you. And if people are naturally, I think you also are a promoter, right? You share information, and probably in a different way. And I also think of influencers as doing um, representing products, right? Like all the bloggers that, they're talking about a specific thing, or they're affiliates. I think about influencer in that regard. And so you might be that person, you know, that may be your a talent, not just something that you're trying to do, but an actual grace really on your life. And then the third one is you could be a personality. And so I think the difference between an influencer and a personality is more of an influencer is probably they're like taking you on a lifestyle journey with them. I mean, I'm sure they're not all just natural, but I think it's the influencer talent is more about sharing a gift for sharing your life, sharing stories in a way that calls people to take action. Okay, or kind of causes people to emulate you even. Whereas a personality is someone that represents, I think of people like people that are on television that are representing a product. They're not necessarily, we're not necessarily seeing their life and what happens with their kids. I mean, now during our COVID situation with everybody on video, we're seeing more of people's lives in much more casual settings from people on television. But normally, if you are, we talk about it, a TV personality, a radio personality, like these people are gifted at really giving us a show, really gifted at performance. And that could be you. You could be an extreme introvert and still be a personality, because you may be able to act. You may be able to represent. You kind of stand as an example, but we may not necessarily know you deeply and personally, but we know you because we've seen you, right? And you may not be in that role personally right now, but you still could have a gift for that. And if you stand up and you represent and you break through whatever fear, I bet you're going to see that there is a gift there. And that gift is supposed to, all of us, the gift that you have is supposed to make room for you. It will make room for you, but you got to use it. You have to put it in play at some level. Nothing that we do is fully developed when we start. We don't come into the earth that way. We come in as babies. We have to develop and we grow and we get stronger and we learn and we experience things. That is the same way with your talent. And so you got to treat it like a child and give it the nurture that it needs so that it can grow, so you can invest it and it can become bigger and greater than you would have ever imagined. And so we've got the next one. I had a hard time really with the word. I kind of got this old school word for it that came to me. And I'm thinking of, I'm going to call it a composer just to give it a more modern name. But the word I had was scribe. So nobody talks about scribes nowadays. But I think you also could be, your talent could be for writing, like documentation almost. You could be, you may speak through your writing. You could be a blogger, you could be any kind of a content developer. You may have a grace for that, developing curriculums and editing. That could be the talent that you have, a gift for words, an interest in English. Like I loved English in elementary and high school. I loved learning. I was in some advanced placement English classes. Yeah, I know, right? Scribe. Yep, I said it. But well, that reminds me. Okay, there was this funny thing. I went to total sidebar. So I went to a hotel one time and I was trying to go get my parking ticket validated. And so I went up to the bar and showed it to the guy and said, hey, I wanted to get my ticket validated, because that's what they did for people who had a drink at the bar, who were drinking. I was not drinking, but I knew that I could get it validated. So I go up to the bartender, handed my ticket, and he looked at me and he said, you had a drink? And I said, I said, yeah. He goes, what did you have? I can't even tell you the last time I had a drink, y'all, but I said, Slow Jam Fizz. Needless to say, he laughed in my face and was basically like, yeah, nobody does that anymore. Like, so anyway, so I was telling my age, but so the scribe thing, I certainly wasn't back from those days. But anyway, I think that that is a significant gift and grace. You know, some people in the entertainment industry, they are like top Hall of Fame writers. Their music is behind all the major artists. So you've got those who are the personality, the performers of it, and then you have those who actually wrote it. And really, you could be more successful, wealthier than any of the other four that I mentioned, the other four talents, just by investing that. And sometimes we miss the boat because we're spending so much of our time trying to be another, like trying to perfect another talent. Now, the caveat that I'm going to give you with that comment is we are each given, I believe, a singular grace and gift and ability that truly is the foundation, the core, the thing that really drives everything else. But we are also required to increase it. So when I talk about investing your gift in and your influence into culture, what I'm saying, I'm saying you should invest it like a seed, like you're planting it. So that one gift, if you planted that one gift, what could it yield? Right? And then if you have other abilities, if you develop other abilities, those things can sprout and turn into other things. So, and not only do you have the potential for that, but you have a responsibility for that. Because I believe that we are all divinely endowed. We have been given a specific grace and gift, and our responsibility. Some of us actually have been given more talent and ability. We have a higher capacity for production, right? But no matter who you are expected to increase that. You are not supposed to die. You heard people say, I want to die empty. You are not supposed to die with your seed still on the inside of you. You are not supposed to die still dreaming about one day maybe this thing is going to happen, or you're going to do X, or you're going to become X, or you'll be able to influence or change or create. That's not even how we were born to live. We were born to dominate, to really take over. And again, we're not supposed to take over each other. We're not here. Remember, one of my a couple of weeks ago, I talked about people over power. We are not here so that we can dominate each other. I'm not here to outdo you. You're not here to outdo me. We are here to dominate our sphere of influence. Because there is someone, like Ron said, someone is watching you. Someone is seeing what you're doing. And, we were talking about, my team and I, we were doing audits in social media. And one of them said that they've done watch parties with Vivid Talk Live. They're doing Vivid Talk Live watch parties with their friends. And I'm thinking, wait, what? And what it did, it reminded me, there is somebody in social media. When you do something, you can see, oh, you only had two views, right? 2 followers. And those two, you don't know what those 2 followers are doing. You don't know who their friends are. You don't know how many other people really saw that. You have no idea of the actual effect of what it is that you are doing. But it's so easy to get discouraged in the middle of all of it because you feel like, man, I'm doing all this work and nobody's watching. No one's paying attention. And what that showed me, it reminded me, because I know it reminded me that I can't do this or anything, and you cannot do anything that you are doing because you're trying to get somebody to like it, somebody to follow you, somebody to give you accolades, somebody to pat you on the back. Clearly, we want all those things, or even somebody to buy, right? We want all those things, but oftentimes what we're doing is we're setting an expectation that it's almost like, I will continue doing this if somebody's watching, if somebody's listening, if somebody buys something, if I can make some money, I'll keep going. And what we have to learn how to do is invest our gift. Now, the gift is the thing that you really love. That's the thing that you care the most about. Really, at your core, you could be really afraid about investing and moving, stepping out and doing something, just stepping out into the unknown. But ultimately, the thing that you're really gifted at is the thing that's going to bring you the greatest joy. And what we have to learn how to do is to invest our gift, to develop, to become everything that we were intended to become, for joy and for love. And sometimes you just got to do it because, right? Some days I play with my miniatures just because. Some days I write a poem just because. Some days I get dressed and put in some effort just because. Some days I create jewelry. I do all these things just because I love it. Not because, oh man, this one's going to sell, this one's not going to sell. There's a time, there's a place for all those things. We want to make sure that our message is that it's resonating with the right people. We want to make sure that we're doing a good job production-wise. We want to make sure that our writing is impeccable and that stylistically it's relevant. All these things, we want to do that. We want to be, you just want to be technically correct and skilled at everything that we do. But at a certain point, it's got to be, you know what? If it's not bringing you joy, what does Marie Kondo say? You gotta tell that, pull that thing out and say, thank you for serving me, and then get rid of it because it's not serving you anymore, right? So I just believe this is a way of life. This is how we have to challenge ourselves to live, to exist, because there is someone waiting for you to step up. There is someone who needs to hear exactly what you have to hear. They need to see the struggles. They need to understand fully where you came from, what you're doing. They got to even see your process, even if you feel like you haven't arrived. Sometimes we don't start telling our story because we don't feel like we've really achieved enough to make our story worth telling. One of the exercises, I had a friend, she's a writer, and she hosts a workshop on how to write a memoir. And I took the class, but at the time I kind of felt like, why would I write a memoir? Who would want to know? Who would want to read it? And I have to tell you that what I realize now is writing your book, writing your memoir, writing a blog, all those things, you have to do that at a certain point for you to develop, to get it out, to figure out what it is you have to say, and you're going to perfect it. And that was one of the things in one of the interviews that I watched with Toby and his wife and his producer. They talked about the process. They talked about the fact that when they all stepped out and started creating music together, that Toby's rhymes weren't really that great, and Nell's music production needed some work. And she talked about having this team and how they just work together to perfect it. And they can tell each other, oh no, that's not it. You need to go back, right? And nobody's offended, and they just keep moving and keep working and perfecting and perfecting and perfecting, doing the best they can with the money they have or whatever they don't have. And that also develops. When you step out that way, you also start to attract the team that you need. He talked about it, and I'm living it as well. I'm experiencing it. Where the more I step out, the more the team comes. And then when the team comes, they are helping to craft and form the vision in a way that I would never have expected. They're helping me to face my blind spots and develop in ways that I couldn't do by myself. I may be able to do that for somebody else, but can't do it for me. And so you just investing yourself in your gift, your grace is vital. And so I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to ask you, what is the talent that you believe you can build on? And I've asked you in the past, what was the problem you were born to solve? And so that talent is probably uniquely suited to solve that problem. And so, in the context of tonight's discussion, 5 talents that I just want to help you understand. Now, we all can have some components of all of them, but I think there is like this sweet spot for you. So what is it? Are you a thought leader? Are you an influencer? Are you a personality? Or are you a scribe? Is there another one? Oh, I missed one. Let me see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 4. I went to scribe and I missed one. So the last one is advocate. I think there might be another one though. Maybe I have to think about that. An advocate is really one that really wants to work for the disadvantaged. Is uniquely motivated, instinctively motivated to work for the disadvantaged. You're always the one working for the underdog. You're the one that's going to step up when people need food. You're the one that's going to be the shelter when a woman is battered. You're the one that's going to be in the streets protesting, social injustice. You're that personality. And I think your advocacy could be quiet as well. You could be the one that's that's behind the scenes making sure that justice is done. But the bottom line is you have this personality, right? So Renee says she's an influencer personality. I think, yeah, right. There we go. And so now you done touched on something. So I like, back in the days, I told you I used to be, my very first direct sales company was Beauty Control Cosmetics. And I was an image consultant offering color analysis, that color-coded cosmetics and color analysis. And one of the things we talked about was your fashion personality. And there were 4. And what we always taught was kind of you had a primary and a secondary. So I like that Renee said that she's an influencer personality, because I think that you've got that primary personality, but then, or that talent, and then that secondary talent kind of colors it, right? It's like it could be like no, I'm not gonna say that because I don't know anything about. I was thinking about astrology, but I don't know enough about it to really make that analogy work. So I'm not even going there. But it's like with the fashion personalities, you could be a dramatic or a natural. So if you were a primary dramatic with a secondary natural, you might be a little more casual, but kind of stark in your dress because that's primary, but then it was colored by the natural. So that would make it more casual and softer, right? If you could be a romantic with a classic twist. So you like flowers and feminine colors and prints, but then you mix that. It was colored by more classic shapes, right? So I think you could look at them that way as well, and that will give you a better idea. But I think what you want to do, identify where you fall in that, and those 5. I think you are, Katrina, definitely an influencer. I think we talked about that earlier today, but yeah, those 5. Let's go back: thought leader, influencer, personality, scribe, advocate, or composer, scribe, and advocate. Composer, scribe, there's the same thing. And then I wanted it to be more exciting than writer, so maybe scribe is good. It's poetic. And then advocate. So that's it for tonight. I want to thank you so much. Yes, that's right, Katrina. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Once again, make sure you are following at Gwen Fuchsias. And I want to thank you for picking up what I'm putting down at Gwen Fuchsias on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope, and Gwen Witherspoon Coach on YouTube. And once again, you can visit gwenwitherspoon.com and watch live as I stream. And then last week's episode will be at the bottom, the replay. And then if you want to watch all the other ones, you would just click here on the Watch More Replays button. Listen, I cannot thank you enough for joining me. And make sure you come right back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, Veronica. And make sure, please, please, please tell your friends, share it with them, do some watch parties, tell me how it goes. And I will see you next week. Have a great night.